Hello and welcome to the magic of fishing. Today you join me for a bit of winter storm fishing on a chalk stream. Not a combination of factors that happen to me very often, but we're at the tail end of one of the worst storms to have hit the UK in many years. There have unfortunately been fatalities as well as major damage, particularly in Scotland and Northern Ireland. It's been a real rough weather system, but despite the terrible forecast, I've come down to Romsey in Hampshire, somewhere I have fished before but not this particular spot, and I've been very lucky to be invited down here by a friend of mine, Graham Keel, who's with Farnham Angling Society, a club that I only joined last year in 2024, and I've already had some amazing adventures with. It's a fantastic club with some brilliant waters of its own, but today is about fishing a normally exclusive piece of river reserved for game anglers in search of trout, salmon and sea trout during the game fishing season. We're down here with a bunch of passionate coarse anglers to try and catch grayling, potentially a chub, maybe even roach, but grayling are probably the main quarry for us today, and I'm really looking forward to fishing despite the terrible weather. Should be an exciting, if very wet, day on the bank, and I feel very privileged to have access to this piece of water. It's something that the owners do on occasion, and it helps keep the cormorants down on the river and just, keeps a few boots and eyes on the bank. But it's not somewhere you can fish regularly. A little daunted by the weather, but let's get fishing. Right, first time back on the test in 2025. I was lucky enough to fish it a couple of times last year for the first time. So not going to be a pleasant day weather-wise, but hopefully in lots of other ways it will be. That's a fish first cast. Incredible. Putting up a good scrap too. First rundown. Have we got a grayling or have we got an out of season trout? Lovely grayling. First fish, Graham, first cast. You weren't kidding. Although I was wrong about it being a grayling, and it is a trout. Yeah. Let's wet the hands. Don't know how I mistook that, but the current is flying through. Get him straight back. Off he goes. Keep that feed going in to make up for the disturbance. Straight back on double maggot. But Graham, who very kindly invited me here on this annual trip, did say this was a banker swim. Hopefully, as I say, for grayling, not just trout. There's another fish. This is incredible. Incredible, Graham. Yeah. Real some fight in this flow. Oh, even with a powerful rod, that is really pulling. This could be another trout. The way it's going. Eyes off. I think that was probably a trout. 2 cast, 2 fish, 1 landed. And it's nice to do a little bit of filming for you folks at home before the heavens open. Another one of my new fishing friends downstream. That float is going through Really nice, fast but smooth. Yeah, the mother of all storms. I'm calling it a once in a generation storm, particularly if you're in Northern Ireland or up in Scotland. Some really strong, damaging winds. Someone sadly lost their life this weekend, and the wind's coming back even in the south today. It's already very blustery, but wow, it's great to be fishing. Might have been dragging that. And this is actually not the test, this is a mill stream, a feeder stream. The test is over the field and further upstream, so I'll be exploring, as we all will, through the day. Could have been a bite. I have now just got my centre pin reel back from Young's. Big thanks to Chris for giving that a service, but because I've been away working this week, had a really busy week, was working the weekend before, I've been away all the week leading up to this trip. I've not managed to really sort my gear out properly and get that spooled up. So I'm using the fixed spool today, 15-foot rod, probably not needed on such a small stream as this, but I do like a long rod when I'm trotting. And I think, from what I've heard from my fellow anglers, Neil in particular was telling me it's really bombing through on the main river after all the rain we've had with the storm. So if I do get to fish the main river, that extra rod length might help. Incredible though, that my hands are already feeling cold. I've only been fishing for 5 or 10 minutes. It really is going to be a memorable day in terms of the weather and the fishing, I hope. Tiny bit of shelter here, stood behind an old farm building. Obviously once you've caught a couple of fish, likely both trout, that have gone tearing off all over the swim, a bit of feed is needed to hopefully coax the fish that have been put off by that commotion back into feeding mode. The gusts are already getting up a bit. But it is roving fishing, so we'll give it another 15 minutes here and then I can move further upstream towards the main river. Lots of geese coming over, as well as a helicopter. All over. That's another fish. I was a bit slow on the strike there. Came so soon up the swim. Now the big question, have I managed to get a grayling? First of the trip for me, or is it another little trout. I suspect the latter. Yeah, lovely little speckled trout, but it's not what we're here for. No, we go again. Just going to try a little bit of bread. Keep feeding the maggot. See whether we can conjure up anything else out of this swim. That was a very quick bite. I must say it was very kind of Graham who organised this trip, not only to invite me but to put me on this swim to start things off just where we arrived this morning. And our cars, he said it's normally a banker for a few fish, and that certainly seems to be the case so far as the bells ring out. And I'm not feeding any bread, but obviously every time you retrieve you're knocking a bit off and sending it down. It's amazing, this is the second time I've been this part of the world already this year, with my previous trip to Throop, a bit further down in Dorset. My time with Nigel at Davis Tackle, Christchurch, not a million miles from here. That was a good bite on the bread. Sank out of sight. Taking me down. Another decent fish. I'll work him up. This is an Acolyte Plus rod, so it's got a bit of backbone, but it really is hooped over with this flow and the fight of these fish. Is it another trout? Could be another trout. Didn't go tearing off like they normally do. Yeah, we've got another beautiful but out of season trout. Let's get him played as quickly as we can and put back as much stick as I dare. Beautiful fish. Pink cheeks, but not what we've come for. Just wet my hand. Big swan comes down the river. Right, calm down. That's it. Well, the game anglers got plenty to look forward to here next season. Lovely church bells and a lovely bite. The bread is certainly a winner in terms of bites, but this is a big fish going straight downstream, and I suspect we could be into another trout. And if the bread is proven too tempting, we will have to try going back on the maggots or indeed the corn. That really took off, much like I'd expect a trout to. Hectic sport, but not what we've come for. Let's perhaps give the corn a go, see whether we can find the grayling that way. Right, let's see whether anything's possible on corn. Corn in the storm. Still trying to find those coarse species that we're after. Might have been dragging. That wasn't. That's a bite. Whoa, and another feisty fish. I think they all are in this current. Keeping out the weeds. And pulled out. Had to give that quite a lot of stick. There's an incredible number of fish in this swim there. And corn seems to be equally as acceptable as maggots and bread. With a few maggots going down as well. There's a fish right at the bottom of the swim, on the corn. Some of the most prolific fishing I've ever known this, and okay, we're not yet to find the coarse species, but the number of bites and fish hooked is phenomenal. This little mill stream. Lovely feeling at this time of the year when bites and fish aren't always easy to come by in most normal venues. Just a bend in the rod. I may have a first grayling. Yes. I saw that fin come up this time. No mistaking it. And that's the corn doing the trick. There he comes. My first grayling. We got him. We're not going to keep him out of the water for more than a few seconds, but lovely first grayling from this feeder stream of the test. Beautiful. And it seems good old yellow peril might be the way to go to avoid the trout and find those graylings, so let's give it another go. The fish feel so vibrant and powerful in this flow. Either dashing away or just sitting there and pulsing, and the rod hooped. You really steadily work them up. Another lovely grayling on the corn. And here he comes. We got him. What a nice fish too. Just need the disgorge just inside the lip. That is another cracking grayling on the corn. Oh, we will of course be taking a roving approach. But while the going's this good on the corn, a couple of lovely grayling in the last 5 minutes, I've got to keep fishing it and keeping that feed going in. Certainly won't hog it all day. That is another fish. Very next run down. And it does feel like it could be another lady of the stream. I think it is, you know. A hat trick of grayling. Oh. Oh, and he's in. Look at that. Dorsal. Off he goes. And although the wind really is picking up at times, still not raining, so it's been marvellous to get so much action, and particularly now 3 grayling, 3 of the fish we came for before the heavens open. The forecast is for really heavy rain all afternoon, combined with the wind and the fairly cool temperatures. It might not be pleasant, but look at this for incredible fishing before that rain comes. Thank you so much, Graham, for inviting me, and I hope the rest of the lads are doing as well. He did say this was a bit of a flyer, so maybe this fish and one more and we'll give them a rest and try somewhere else. Maybe that someone else wants to give this a go later. But the corn really has brought them. Oh, that's a good one. Real good one. Possibly the biggest yet. He's seen some action. He's still fighting fit. Oh, I got him. That's a lovely fish. And as always in fishing, it can pay to bring at least a couple of bait options. I'm sure you catch fish on most of them here, but corn has helped me find those grayling. That last one, touch under £2, so nice fish as well. In fact, my PB of £2 10oz was caught not far from here. March 2024 on the test. And compared to the fish I used to catch with my grandad on the Derwent in Derbyshire, they're absolute beasts. There, a pound fish was a good fish. Well, they certainly were to a young lad learning to fish anyway. I'm sure there's bigger fish there as well. There we go. If I can, as long as I don't mess this up, this is my last fish from here. You are welcome here now. There's certainly a few here. Well, it's very kind of Graham to put me in it in the first. Sorry? Yeah, I've had them on maggot as well, but if this is another grayling, they've been on the corn. But yeah, Graham was very good of him to put me on here in the first place. So I'm more than happy to suggest it to you. I need to move around and explore. Could be a trout. Seems even the trout like the corn. It's a good one. Back he goes straight away. Right, time to move on and explore. Oh, here comes the real rain, as predicted, with the wind. I've got my waders on to keep my legs dry. Let's just hope my jacket can hold out for a few hours of this. Thank God there are fish to be caught, because it wouldn't be very enjoyable to to be fishing somewhere that didn't feel very productive in this kind of weather. Let me try and ensure that you can see this. Oh, if I can get my rag out of the bag, you might be able to see that I've got a fish on. Perseverance. I'm not sure whether it's a trout or not yet, but another fish in absolutely horrific conditions. Oh, big flashes of silver. Is it a trout or is it a grayling? Oh, lovely. It's a grayling. It's been worth all this rain, which is set to continue all day now. That is a lovely silver grayling, lady of the stream. Lovely fish. Oh, a lovely millstream grayling. About ready. There he goes. Brilliant sea. Sure enough, the bait is getting very wet in the waste pouch. I think they'll soon be making a break for it, but while I'm catching fish I can deal with it. Just trotting that far bank now, not been feeding over there. It's a bit slower pace. It really is tricky conditions. And if you can see through the rainy lens, we've got another one. Yeah, that is a whopper of a trout. He's going straight back. And this is a nice heavy feeling grayling. After that trout went back, huge dorsal fin. What a scrap. Oh, fantastic. Oh, lovely fish. That far bank again. Only a small fish, but that's the first one that's not needed a net. And that is a real beauty, a little baby grayling. Just on the far bank there, let's just slip straight out. Look at that for the beauty of nature. If you can hear me above the storm, it's slipping back. I seem to be sheltering on the far bank. Other way, fella. That's it. Oh, I just wish there was somewhere for me to shelter on the far bank. Oh, nearly getting blown in. Ah, the things I do for you folks at home, eh? It might be fantastic fishing on a very privileged and lovely piece of river, but oh, these are not conditions you would choose to go fishing in. I can't even get there. I'm going to have to actually do more of a cast rather than a swing to get this float to cut through the wind. No, that's no good. Oh, I'm getting tangles and all sorts. Very simple rig, just an Olivet, 5 gram Olivet and a number 6 dropper. Even that's managed to tangle. And with my numb hands, it's not always straightforward to undo it. Right, come on, let's try again, John. The wind's dropped. Flick to the far side. That's the one. That's where the little grayling are hanging out. There we go. And another. Just goes to show, even in the worst conditions, it pays to work out what the fish want. While I'm playing him, let's give another wipe of the camera. There we are. And this one is a netter. Oh, he was. Off he goes. Definitely over that far bank though. That's just right, a foot off the far bank. Straight away, that's where they are. Again, not a biggie, but great fun in the rain. Another little one. Great to see future generations. Oh, and he's off again. Let's have one more go at getting it over to that far side. That wasn't good enough. See if there's one more fish there and then we'll move on. I need to try and keep moving to keep some warmth going through my body. My hands are like blocks of ice already. A dangerous combination of wind and wet. Really do need to dress up in the right gear if you're going to come out in this kind of weather. Oh, and that's perfect though. Somehow through the wind that landed within an inch of the far bank. Let's see whether there's one more willing to brighten up this weather in this day. Just edging it down. There you go. Very satisfying fishing. To get another one. Now I've worked out where they want it. We'll put this little beauty back again. Really encouraging for the future of this fishing in this river. Hook popped straight out. Lovely baby grayling. Back he goes. Let's move on. Let's try and get some warmth back. I'm just trying to keep moving, to keep warm. It really is cold. I'm starting to shiver a bit and that's never a good sign. I like the look of the run down to this tree down there. Still not had a chub. Really is some of the most brutal conditions I've ever fished in without some kind of a bivvy or shelter. Freezing cold, but before I try and find some shelter for lunch, that is if the camera doesn't keep blowing over, let's have a quick trot down to that tree and I'll try and film a little bit while it's not raining quite as hard for a minute. I can see one or two fellow anglers upstream though, so I'm not the only one still out. Nice to get one more fish before lunch and a reassessment of the situation. Even the loose feed's getting blown upstream back onto the bank. Oh dear. Just made my way into this little fisherman's or keeper's hut. Put my stuff down to dry for a second, and just being out the wind is incredibly nice. Gonna give it a break and have a bite to eat, I think. Like a kid's tree house. I said at the beginning of this film that we were expecting some extreme weather, but as I said to a couple of fellow anglers who've braved these conditions with me today, I don't think I've ever fished in weather like this, not without a shelter anyway. You can see my breath steaming up. It's not warm at all, only a few degrees. It's blowing a gale. The wrath of the storm is still strong, and it's absolutely bucketing it down with rain. So I've managed to find this little shelter, this little hut. It does feel like being a kid again in a tree house. And I've got my sarnies and a bit of cake from Rachel. Don't need much water, but a bit of water to drink. I'm going to have something to eat in here and see whether there's much more fishing can be done after this, but I think there'll be a few of us heading back soon. And I've filled my boots with fish, tons of fish, plenty of trout, obviously out of season, but lots of nice grayling too. And if I catch anything special before I head home, I'll include it in the video, but I think it is sensible if I say my goodbyes now. My GoPro batteries have gone, and I think the mic on there might be struggling as well. And I will be paying my money to the owner, whether he's out on the bank today or not. We'll make sure he gets paid for this exceptional fishing, but there might be a few of us heading home early today. So thanks for watching. Sorry if it's a bit of a short video, but I think it'll be a bit of a fish packed one at least. And I know a lot of you struggle to get out when it's terrible weather like this, or don't fancy getting out, so at least I've managed to get out and make some sort of a video for you to enjoy, and I hope you're watching it somewhere warm. If you have enjoyed it, leave me a comment as always, perhaps watch another video afterwards and give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, take care, stay warm, and I'll see you again soon on the bank.